In this session, you will explore a powerful feature of Azure Storage called object replication. If you've ever wanted to copy your blob data automatically across regions for disaster recovery, compliance, or performance optimization, this is the feature you need to understand. Object replication allows you to automatically replicate block blobs from one storage account, called the source, to another, called the destination, even across different Azure regions. This replication is asynchronous, meaning the blobs are copied in the background after they are created or updated. Think of it like a set it and forget it sync rule for blobs between storage accounts. So, why should you use object replication in your storage strategy? Because it gives you powerful capabilities that go beyond just copying data. First, it strengthens your disaster recovery posture by letting you maintain a secondary copy of your data in a different Azure region, giving you peace of mind in case something goes wrong in the primary location. If you are working with data analytics, you can use object replication to optimize analytics workflows by automatically sending blobs from your production environment to a dedicated analytics storage account. This separation helps keep performance high and systems decoupled. From a governance and regulatory standpoint, replication helps you meet compliance requirements by storing data in multiple regions, aligning with data residency or redundancy rules your organization might face. And finally, you will notice better performance when users are spread out geographically. By replicating data closer to your users, you reduce latency and improve the overall experience. It's not just about duplication, it's about smart, strategic data availability. When you set up object replication, you're essentially building a bridge between two storage accounts. First, you need to select two storage accounts. Both must be general purpose V2 accounts and hierarchical namespace must be disabled. This ensures the replication feature can function properly. Next, you will create matching containers in both accounts, one in the source and one in the destination. These containers act as the endpoints for blob transfers. Once that's in place, it's time to enable blob versioning on both accounts. This step is critical because object replication relies on versioning to track and replicate changes. Then, you will configure the replication rule. This is where you define exactly which containers and blobs should be replicated. Think of it like setting a policy for what Azure should watch and copy for you. Finally, once the rule is active, Azure takes over the syncing process, automatically replicating any new or updated blobs based on your settings. It's important to know that this replication is not immediate. Azure offers eventual consistency, meaning the updates will happen asynchronously but not in real time. There are a few things you should keep in mind. First, replication doesn't apply retroactively. Only blobs created or modified after the rule is set will be copied. Also, object replication supports block blobs only. So you can't use this with append blobs or page blobs. Each replication rule is unidirectional. You set a one-way sync from source to destination. You can monitor the replication process using system metadata like XMS copy status, which gives you insight into whether a blob has successfully replicated. Lastly, be aware that metadata and deleted versions are not replicated. That means if you delete a blob or change its metadata, those changes won't carry over to the destination. By understanding these steps and constraints, you will be able to set up object replication effectively and ensure your data is always where it needs to be, secure, redundant, and ready. Let's get on the Azure portal and see this in action. In this demo, I've set up two Azure storage accounts for a quick test, as you can see on the screen. One of the accounts is located in Australia East. The other one is in East Asia. Both of these are storage v2 accounts, which is essential for enabling object replication. For the purpose of this demo, I'm treating the Australia East storage account as the source. This is where I'll create or update blobs. The East Asia account will serve as the destination where those blobs will be replicated automatically using Azure's object replication feature. With this setup, I'm now ready to move forward and configure containers, enable versioning, and set the replication rule. Let me click on the storage account, which is in Australia East. I've now created a container named MyData in the source storage account, as you can see here. Next, I'm going to click on the data protection option under the data management menu. This is where I'll enable blob versioning, which is a required step before setting up object replication. On this screen, I've now selected the option to enable versioning for blobs. With this step, all the prerequisites for object replication on the source storage account are now complete. I'm using a storage v2 account. I've created the source container and I've enabled blob versioning. I've also repeated the same setup on the destination storage account, so both ends are now ready for replication. Let me click on the object replication now to set up the replication rule. I'm now in the object replication section of my source storage account. This is where I can create and manage replication rules to copy blobs from one storage account to another. As you can see, there are currently no replication policies configured. Both sections, objects copied from this account and objects copied into this account, are empty. To set up object replication, I'll click on Create Replication Rules at the top. This will guide me through the process. On this screen, I'm in the process of creating the replication rule for object replication. I've selected my destination subscription and chosen the destination storage account, which is located in East Asia. In the container pair details section, I've mapped the source container and destination container. Both are named MyData. This means that any new blobs added or updated in the MyData container in the source account will be replicated to the MyData container in the destination account. I'm keeping the default option to copy only new objects, which is typically what you want for standard replication scenarios. Now that everything looks good, I can go ahead and click Create to set up this replication rule and enable automatic blob replication from source to destination. Now that I've created the replication rule, I can see the setup reflected here on the object replication screen of my source storage account. Under objects copied from this account, the rule is now listed. It shows the destination account, the source container as MyData, the destination container also as MyData. No filters applied, meaning all new or updated blobs in the source container will be replicated. There's also a metrics link, which I can use to monitor replication status and activity over time. The section Objects copied into this account is still empty because I haven't configured any incoming replication rules. Right now, this storage account is only acting as a source, not as a destination. This confirms that my object replication setup is complete, and Azure will now begin asynchronously replicating eligible blobs from source to destination.